Welcome back. Viewer Zackary asked some questions about how I um, connect my harness with my saddle. Some questions about that, about the bridge, and then he had a question about how the friction hitches on the tethers act during rappel. So I'm going to take a couple minutes and address that. So this is my harness. I will put this on before I put my saddle on. And back in the day when I used a harness like this is all I used. And it had a platform and climbing spikes. And we didn't call it saddle hunting back then. We didn't even have a name for it. But anyway, so these two loops here are where I tie in. So that's that. And then my saddle, part of this is new. This is the lower part that I sit in right here. That's new since this past season. I made this when I got home, and it has more strands. It distributes the weight a little better than this cargo net style that I was using. This was my seat section. It's kind of a 2-panel saddle, but it runs from probably mid-thigh up to my shoulder blades all together. But I do have, there's 2 bridges here. But when I run these, when I hunt from this, they're drawn up pretty tight. I'll have these, I'll probably have the lower, I'll start with them all the way drawn up like that. Let's see. And then I'll have my get my 2 tether here. My 2 tether. Let's see. I'll have both of these will be clipped in like that. And I'll climb like that, and then if I have to adjust, it's usually pulling this lower one, dropping it down a little bit, but usually not too much. I got this stuff sized pretty well for me, where I don't have to use the adjustment for comfort there. If I do, I can adjust. I can adjust either one of these while I'm up in the tree, so that's not a problem. Most of the adjustment that I use is for just getting it off and on, stepping through. I'm gonna get this out of the way so it doesn't distract while we talk about how I hook up. So I'll sit in this one. This one goes around my back. And this is the bridge line that I will tie into at each end. And what I'll do is I'll put my harness on, and I have a loop for each side. So here, this would be the right hand side, the left hand side. This is on around my waist. There's kind of a belt here I had to add to over the years, but I'll put this around my waist, and then I'll tighten it up so it stays around my waist in position, and then I'll step through the saddle, and I'll draw the the bridge up to where these two lines are centered. And it'll be drawn up like that. And then I'll put the end of that line through here on both ends of the bridge. Will come through to the inside where these two loops are. There's the left side and the right side. And then I'll do a sheet bend or a double. Sometimes I'll do a double on the right. So that'll be to the inside like that. That's why you don't typically see it in the videos. And then this side will be, this comes, well, it doesn't matter which way we go, but I'll do, I believe it's a double. If I feel like that the harness is pulling on it's starting to try to bear some of my weight, I'll just do a single sheet bend on each end of this. And that's it. And then this is on me. This goes up my back, and then I'll sit in this. And then if I'm going to walk with this, what I'll do is I'll move this up my back, and I'll tighten these down here so it doesn't droop down and impede the walk. But that's all I do. If this harness started to bite into my legs or something like that in normal use, I would make I'd get a longer bridge rope. I hope that answers that. If not, I can ask some questions. Maybe I really can't do this outside now. It's dark. By the time I get out of work, it's dark. So I'll have to wait till the weekend for that kind of thing. And then, let's see. So I do have these, like I said. I run them pretty tight. And since I have such a comfortable saddle with such a large surface area, it really doesn't cause a lot of the problems that I hear from the commercial saddles, or I hear about them. Hip pinch and all that kind of nonsense. I don't, that's not on my radar. So I'll leave all that pain to everyone that knows better. So that's that. And then as far as the hitches and whether they jam, a lot of that depending on what kind of hitch we're talking about. So these are VTs right now. This would be on like this. It would be hooked up like that to my saddle. And then I run both lines out to the right. And the VT doesn't tend to jam. I was using, I've used several different hitches over the years here. And just prior to this, during this past season, I used what I guess you would call is maybe an enhanced Michoacan, or a double terminated Michoacan. I can show that real quick in this video, but I'll find a piece of hitch cord and a rope. But anyway, these VTs, any kind of hitch that allows for these coils up here to constrict down but not release, tends to jam more. And some of the jam, usually the jam would happen before I started. So I would take my my stirrup hitch down on top of this hitch here, the right, because I would rappel off of this initially, and I would I'd have to really pull down on it, or I'd have to initially get my weight up off of it and get it to break free, and then I could bring that stirrup hitch down and come down, and it would I would get most of the way down. And then what might sometimes happen is as I come down, if you looked at how I rappel, I'll rappel about halfway on the upper, and then I'll reverse, and I'll reverse direction, and I'll come down on the on this one to the lower tether. That way I keep this rope shorter, I keep everything close to me. My pull down only has to be maybe 15 feet max. I haven't had the occasion yet where I had to do more than come down halfway on the upper and the rest of the way on the lower, and that's it, I'm on the ground. So even from 25 feet or more. So the other times that they kind of jam, like I was saying, is when I would get down here in this coil. I should do it this way. So as I'm rappelling, this upper is coming through, and this loop is getting smaller up in here. And if this gets a bunch of twists in it, all kind of weird things, say, weird loops and all that can form in here, that would bind me up. But lately, it hasn't been an issue. I make sure if I start getting any kind of kinks or twists in here when this loop gets small, I work them out by, I just twist the rope through here till it straightens this out, and it's not so bad. The other thing that can happen, and it hasn't happened in a while, is the sheath can pull down separate from the core, and the sheath gets actually like it's thicker. So it's like coming down a tapered rope, and the rope is getting bigger at the bottom, and that would kind of slow me down. I think part of that was I was trying to use very short hitches here, and the short hitches with fewer coils, they actually grab tighter right there. You have fewer of them, they got to stop the same amount of weight, so they were grabbing tighter. So what I did is I would add coils here, or you'll see here in a minute when I do this double-ended Michoacan, which would work pretty good. I want to try the VT again, but that double Michoacan, it didn't allow, during one climb, it didn't really allow for these coils to get too tight. So it was a very well-behaved hitch to rappel on. It didn't squeeze the rope so bad, and the whole system worked a whole lot better. So the way I tie the Michoacan is I would go like 4 or 5 wraps up here, and then I just kind of like a Blake's. I think some guys make this too complicated. With I would come over this lower leg, and then just up through it, up through one like that, dress it and set it, and that's the way I was tying it. If I needed another wrap in here, I would start out with another one. But the thing I noticed about this, I liked it because it was short, and since I have my stirrup lines up above these, and I don't want to get too much tether line, that's why I have a short bridge or bridges, and then fairly short tether. I just find it all more comfortable if I can stay in tighter to the tree. So this hitch was nice for that because it was so compact. But what happens is, as you use this gets tighter and tighter, and that's what causes them to jam. So I've tried some different things. Like I said, I have this. I'm gonna use these VTs for a while and see how they work. They should release that a little better when I get my weight off. But they grab pretty good. They move well. I know I have used them in the past, but I got them on my I've got them on my stirrup lines now and on my main rappel. But I've also, the one I used through firearm season this year, it's kind of like it has a double finish or a double end on the Michoacan. So I would wrap, say, like it's a longer hitch, and what I've discovered on this is that the longer hitches give you all the friction that you need, and they don't they break easier, or this one did anyway, broke easier under load. So I got 2, 4, 6, 7. We'll try it like that for now. You could always add more or less, but I'd have my last 2 and the 2 above. I'll go one more. So I have 8. Let's start with 8 coils like this, visible. 2, 4, 6, 8. And I got these 2 here and these 2. And when I tie this, almost like a Blake's again, which most of these hitches start as a kind of a Blake's. So I've gone over the top. This is going to be my upper end of the line, and this is the down. I have 2 there, these 2, and then I have this one up above here, or 4 above. So I'll come down and I'll capture 2 like this and come out on this side right here. You see how it comes out, and then I'll come down and capture the last 2 like that and make my legs appropriate for what I'm trying to do. And then this one I really didn't have a name for. I don't have a name for it yet, but my hopes for this one was, because this line here seizes this line in 2 places. It does it here and it does it here, that I would have less of this line tightening these coils too much and causing the hitch to jam. So it's a longer hitch. It's just the nature, but it tended to work. It was easily tunable. Say here, right here, I could tune this up by pushing this one up and giving me a little more slack there, and that would free this up, and it would act like a progress capture. Well, sometimes you got to get it a little bit tighter, but it was one of the easier hitches to tune once I had it set up in this compound hitch knot assembly that I use. But yeah, like a progress capture, like that. And after a climb or two, this would tighten up, but all I had to do was come back. What it is more, or this line here, which forms these, that would tighten up, and these coils would end up tightening up, and they get a little too tight, and you have to tune it again. But all I had to do that was pull this, and then pull that, and it worked pretty free again. So, that's it. Like I said, it's a longer one, but it worked really well in the rappel, in the 2-stage rappel, and when this loop at the bottom here approached it, or between the two different ones, it was really smooth to go into and the other hitch would be tied coming up this way. I don't know if you've seen that in some of the other videos, but the coil will actually come out of one and up through the other right here. So this was one of the most well-behaved hitches. It gave plenty to grab onto and still hold right here. So it gave a handhold. That was nice. Something I liked about it. It broke under load really easy. It didn't jam. It was really it was smooth. I would say that. So anyway, that's if I come up with a name for that, we'll start calling it that, just so everybody knows. But it's just like a Michoacan with two, I guess you would call the locking sections here. And it just was easier, a little bit easier to tune, easier to break under load. I hope that answers everything. The video got kind of long, but maybe a little bit technical. Anyway, hit me up in the comments if you need to know more, and thanks for stopping by.